What is trauma? Experts explain it as exposure to a relatively brief but devastating event. Typically, it's something like war, rape, an accident, or a terrorist event. For other more complex cases, trauma may be linked to a long-term exposure to emotional neglect, humiliation, bullying, violence, and anger, especially during the first 15 years of one's life. A lot of us are suffering from trauma and still don't even realize it. We are not conscious of the fact, very often because we have suppressed events that have happened to us in the past that are too painful to come to grips with. I'm going to describe 12 leading symptoms of trauma, and you can determine for yourself if anything sounds familiar. The first symptom is that you feel that nowhere is it safe. You often have apprehensive feelings and you're a little paranoid about what's going on around you. The catastrophe you fear often has to do with fear of being exposed as an imposter that will lead to some form of shame and guilt and ostracization. You won't necessarily be killed, but you have the feeling that your life could be over the way you know it. Something will come along and just prove to you that this is all just a dream, and you'll go right back to feelings of pain, depression, and the feeling of not belonging somewhere. The second symptom is that you are not able to relax. Your body is often rigid and stressed. You may have psychosomatic symptoms like eczema or headache, nausea, low levels of energy. You're just dragging yourself. Probably your bowel movements are irregular, and generally you don't experience enthusiasm. Third, you can never really sleep well. You stay up a lot during the night and you wake up really early, usually because you're stressed about what's going to happen and to be hyper prepared. You can never really let down your guard and just chill. 4, you have a very low self-image. You feel you're ugly, unattractive, even monstrous, not worthy of love. Especially your sex life is affected. You feel kind of like a creep, like a predator, or just shameful and just never want to go anywhere near making love. 5th, you're often drawn to emotionally or unavailable people. And in turn, you also hate needy people, people who seem to be drawn to you. You really hate people who are present and want to tend to you. You follow people and you are attracted to people who are disengaged and sort of diss you as worthless. And these people are exactly the same. People who really haven't dealt with their own trauma and avoiding something too painful, so they really can't build meaningful relationships with people. 6, you are sickened by people who need you and want to be near you. You find them sickening, you call them weak, you call them clingy, and you want nothing to do with them, and you just shoo and brush them away. You call them revolting, desperate, and needy. 7th, you have a very difficult time managing your anger. You lash out at other people. You are toxic towards other people. But most of all, you're toxic and angry with yourself. And you treat yourself quite harshly as you judge yourself as less than good or less than normal. You find there's something defect in you. 8, You're highly paranoid. It's not that you expect someone to attack you in the street. It's just that you expect people to be backstabbing you. I mean, not literally, but emotionally, that they're, going to be mean towards you. So you walk around in a kind of paranoid state. You feel that others are just there to humiliate and looking for an opportunity to chastise you and really make you feel bad, just kind of dump on you. 9, you find being around other people or living with other people despicable. You really prefer to be alone. You can't stand other people. You get into arguments easily with other people, and you're really protecting your private space. 10, you don't really call yourself suicidal, but living is actually a burden to you. You feel like you're just fighting every day, trying to stay in a positive mood. It's just something overbearing. 11, you don't like being spontaneous. You're quite rigid and you stick to a program. Rain or shine, you stick to protocol. You don't want to deviate a little. You don't want to open yourself up to new experiences. You're kind of OCD about cleaning, and sudden surprises, even if they're good, are something that you don't particularly like. And number 12, last but not least, you keep yourself extremely busy trying to create safety and security to a point of being an obsession. You're amassing money, you're amassing things, you're just trying to become even famous, all in a bid to protect yourself and find safety and security. But you feel at the same time empty inside. Like all the money, all the big houses, all the boats, all the flashy things you may do to attract attention are really not filling that void. You have some unfinished business inside. It's time to do the work. A lot of people think that trauma is something linked to poverty and low levels of income. This couldn't be further from the truth. A lot of children who have grown up in very wealthy families have been emotionally, physically, and mentally traumatized. Being wealthy does not isolate you from trauma. Now, if any of these symptoms sound familiar to you, this should ring a bell for you. Before I go further, I want to tell you a little about CBT. There is scientific evidence to prove that REBT and CBT can definitely help people make huge advances from depression and trauma. It is so serious and so evidenced that CBT helps people that the United States Army uses this system to help soldiers who come back from the wars with overcoming post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, as I told you earlier, CBT and REBT have both been inspired by Greek philosophy. In particular, the Socratic method and Stoicism. Now, I don't want to get into too many details about Socrates and Stoicism and what all of these Greek philosophy principles and practices mean. This you're going to find out much more in the online course. Yes, I have created an online course specifically for people suffering trauma or depression of some sort. It could be also anxiety, because as you can imagine, all these things are very linked. Trauma, depression, anxiety, fear, anger, they all go back to an initial trauma that you may or may not be yet aware of. So I want to invite you to discover my method and apply my method, which is actually a combination of Greek philosophy, CBT, as well as hypnosis, self-hypnosis. This has never been done before. It's very original. I mean, the things have been taught separately. As I said, like in the U.S. Army, they teach you CBT and Stoicism, along with some mindfulness or self-relaxation techniques. But no one has ever integrated the two methods. This is my approach. I create guided meditations. You will see a dramatic difference in the way that you approach life. You will feel much more relaxed, much more confident, much more certain of yourself. You will recover a new enthusiasm for life, and you'll be able to build relationships with others. You will become more creative and find meaning and purpose in your life once again. I have specially priced this course so that it is available to everyone regardless of, what your income is. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you try out my course for 30 days and you still feel that it's not doing anything for you, you have a money-back guarantee. So you really have no excuses. If you're interested to find out more details about this course, go ahead and put your name and email in the box below, and you will get that landing page. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the inside of this course.